begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly.
Then if we run out, I'm just going to grab a story.
The time is 10 a.m.
Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Sandy, and I'm here with Dennis. We invite you to listen to our broadcast, both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday through Friday, between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network, mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's radio subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
Hi there, this is Dennis. I'm going to be reading an article from the Springfield Daily Citizen by Ryan Collins, filed May 22nd. The headline reads, Springfield pedestrian fatally struck by car Thursday night, another critically injured. One Springfield man has died and another was critically injured after being struck by a car while crossing the road Thursday night. Christian Berry, 32, and William Turner, 28, were attempting to cross a road at the intersection of Chestnut Expressway and Grant Avenue when a vehicle traveling east on Chestnut hit the two pedestrians, according to a May 22nd Springfield Police Department news release. SPD officers responded to the crash at 9:52 p.m. Berry and Turner were both transported to a hospital. Berry later died from injuries, and Turner remains hospitalized in critical condition. The families of Berry and Turner have been notified. The vehicle that struck the pedestrians, a 2018 Dodge Charger, was driven by a 17-year-old, according to the release. This was Springfield's seventh fatal motor crash in 2026. The circumstances of the crash are part of an ongoing investigation, according to police. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Springfield Police Department at 417-864-1810 or make an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers at 417-869-TIPS or online at p3tips.com.
Jury recommends multiple life sentences for a man convicted in fatal drive-by shooting in downtown Springfield. Cortez Washington is one of 5 co-defendants in the 2023 fatal drive-by shooting that took the life of Chavez Nijin and was seriously injured Nijin's pregnant girlfriend. That is the message the prosecutor urged the Greene County jury to send to the remaining 2 suspects in the fatal drive-by shooting who have not yet gone to trial by recommending their co-defendant, Cortez Washington, be sentenced to maximum allowed. Washington, 20, stood trial this week in Judge Todd Meyer's courtroom. He is one of the 5 co-defendants in the 2023 drive-by shooting that left a 26-year-old Chavez Nijin dead and Nijin's pregnant girlfriend Haley Frillman seriously injured. 2 other co-defendants, Elijah Bedell and Timothy Hester, have already been convicted of murder and other felonies. The 2 remaining co-defendants, Caesar Bolanos and Arshan Bradley, remain in Greene County Jail, awaiting their trials later this year. After 4 hours of deliberation on Thursday, the jury convicted Washington on all charges: first-degree murder for Nijin's death, first-degree assault for the shooting, and seriously injuring Frillman. 4 counts of armed criminal action and 2 counts of unlawful use of a weapon. The same jury returned to Meyer's courtroom on Friday, May 22nd, to hear sentencing arguments from the attorneys. After an hour of deliberation, the jury recommended Washington be sentenced to 4 life sentences, including life without parole for Nijin's murder, and a mandatory sentence under Missouri law. Washington will be formally sentenced by the judge later this year. Frillman was 22 and 7 months pregnant when the drive-by shooting happened. Frillman was shot 3 times in her finger, her leg, and her arm. Her injuries caused her to have a high-risk pregnancy, and she was in a wheelchair for months. She was among the first to testify in Washington's trial. Nigel Frillman's boyfriend for more than a year and the father of her baby was shot numerous times and died on the scene. Frillman and Nigel's family have always maintained that Nigel did not know the 5 defendants, and it must have been a case of mistaken identity. No information presented during the trial to indicate any of the to indicate that any of the suspects knew Nigel or Frillman. Frillman testified on Tuesday, describing to the jury how a dark sedan with tinted windows carrying several occupants seemed to be following them as the couple drove and traveled on North Kansas Expressway nearing Chestnut Expressway. She turned onto Chestnut, and the sedan drove in the lane next to her car. She testified the car drove window to window alongside her vehicle, but the car's tinted windows prevented her from seeing inside the car. Frillman said she turned right onto Grant Avenue and the other car continued on. But a few seconds later, the sedan was following them again and pulled alongside Frillman's car. Excuse me. Here. Okay, let's see. Alongside Frillman's car, thank you. At the stoplight, Grant and College Street, the occupants in the car just started shooting, Frillman testified. I didn't see it coming, she testified. I thought it was a dream. Both Nigel and Frillman were shot multiple times. Nigel died almost immediately. Frillman was able to pull the car over and screamed for help. The suspect vehicle sped away. The suspects were arrested the following day. Bedell, Hester, and Bolanos, Bradley, and Washington were arrested in other states in 2025. The travesty on this case did not stop with bullets that passed through Chavez and Nigel. The bullets carried through that car and struck Haley Frillman. The assistant prosecuting attorney, Connor Brownie, said at Friday's hearing, they turned her life upside down. Bullet passed through her leg, her arm, and a bullet grazed her head and continued. Those bullets couldn't stop the indominant spirit that Haley Frillman. Crimes were nothing short of articulous. Brownie began in his sentencing arguments Friday morning in reminding the jury of 10 women and 2 men that Washington's first-degree murder conviction comes with a mandatory sentence of life without the possibility of parole. But each count must be assessed on its own, Brownie said, arguing for the maximum sentence on each count. The defendant made choices. Those choices have consequences. A person who commits cold-blooded killing has no place in our community. To those who would follow the mindset of the defendant, to those who even contemplate thinking of an ambush-style shooting from a vehicle is acceptable in Greene County, they need to know that they will be met with most severe consequences. The defendant's actions are nothing short of antiguous in this case. He said, I would submit to you that the only appropriate response to this level of wanton violence and a message that says it is unacceptable. Brownie then directed the message to Justice is Coming to co-defendants Bolanos and Bradley, who face the same charges as Washington. Bolanos is set for trial in June. Bradley is set for trial in September. 2 co-defendants previously convicted, Bedell, 22, first co-defendant in the murder case, stood trial in December 2025. Like Washington, Bedell was found guilty of first-degree murder for killing Nigel, first-degree assault for shooting and seriously injuring Freeman, 2 counts of unlawful use of a weapon for shooting out of the vehicle, 3 counts of armed criminal action. Bedell was sentenced to multiple life sentences. Hester, 19, pleaded guilty on April 3rd, less than 2 weeks before he was to stand trial. First-degree murder, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of unlawful use of a weapon. He admitted being the driver and a shooter. According to the plea agreement, Hester will be sentenced to 30 years for murder charge and 20 years for the assault charge. These sentences are to be served consecutively for the total of 50 years. Defense attorney urges compassion and mercy. Washington's defense attorney, Tom Nord, also made a sentencing arguments on Friday. Nord said that he had spent the morning talking with his client, explaining to Washington that this isn't the end, it's the beginning. Mr. Washington is 20 years old. He is going to have to make a decision on how he is going to live the rest of his life in prison, Nord said. Does Mr. Washington deserve your mercy or your compassion? You decide. You don't have to worry if Mr. Washington is going to get out, he continued. Show him that there is compassion, there is hope. Even though you are going to spend the rest of your life in prison, there is a reason to live a certain way. Nord said he wants his client to take advantage of any available programs in the prison, to get an education, and to treat the correction officers and the other inmates with respect. I want him to be a good man, Nord said. I think back to the man I was when I was 20, and that is just not me now. Nord argued the jury is not just recommending a sentence for the 20-year-old Washington, but also 60-year-old Washington. I don't think he will be the same man, Nord said. In the end, the jury recommendations nearly matched that of the prosecutor's request for the maximum sentence. But the jury opted to sentence Washington to 7 years for each count of the armed criminal action. The maximum sentence would have been 15 years for each count. Though young, co-defendants not strangers to police, Bedell was arrested April 2023 on suspicion of a vehicle theft, unlawful use of a weapon, and possession of a controlled substance. Charges were not immediately filed, and Bedell was released. Some 7 months later, Niagen was murdered and Freeman seriously injured. According to the court documents, when Bedell was 15 in 2019, he was a suspect in a shooting incident during which he sustained a gunshot wounds that left him paralyzed. The other person in that incident was uncooperative, so no charges were filed, the officer wrote in his report. In this plea hearing in April, Hester also pleaded guilty to the assaulting a detective on July 24th, 2024. While Hester, who was 17, was being held at the Greene County Juvenile Detention Center, Hester violently attacked the detective, picking him up and slamming the detective to the concrete floor. The detective suffered seriously physical injury to his back and internal organs. The detective underwent spinal surgery and his career in law enforcement was ended. And according to the information presented during Washington's trial, the suspect vehicle used in November 14th, 2023 drive-by shooting that killed Niagen and at least one of the co-defendants are believed to have been involved in an unrelated drive-by shooting the day before. Springfield Police Department James Sweet testified that Bolano's fingerprints were lifted from shell casings at the scene of the drive-by shooting on November 13th, 2023, near the intersection of Grace Avenue and High Street. No one was injured in that shooting. This story was by Jackie Rewald. Jackie Rewald is a reporter at the Springfield Daily Citizen. She covers public safety, courts, homeless, and domestic violence, and other social issues. Thank you.
Next, we have, also from the Springfield Daily Citizen, an opinion piece written by David Burton. Headline, Why Mattering Might Be Missing Ingredient in Strong Neighborhoods. The feeling that someone matters is what researchers call a meta-need that is essential to function in society. If you ask most people what they want out of life, you would probably hear familiar answers. Happiness, success, security, maybe even purpose. But underneath all of these is something simpler and more powerful. We want to know we matter. Not in a spotlight way, not in a fame or status way, but in a deeply human way. We want to know that someone would notice if we were gone, that our presence makes a difference, that our lives ripple outward in ways that help others. As author Jennifer Wallace puts it, mattering is a fundamental human need to feel valued for who we are and to have the chance to add value to the world around us. Wallace was a guest on my neighboring 101 class program just before her best-selling book, Mattering, came out in February. I invited her as a guest because if you spend any time thinking about neighborhoods, you begin to see something clearly. The front lines of mattering are not in the institutions, they are outside our front doors. Living near people, not with them. We live in a strange cultural moment. We are more connected than ever digitally, but yet many people feel more invisible than ever personally. Wallace describes this disconnect in stark terms. You can live on a street for 20 years and not matter, she said. You can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly alone. Names go unlearned, doors remain closed, hard seasons passed unnoticed, and over time people begin to believe that they do not really count. That's not just sad, it is dangerous. When people feel like they do not matter, trust begins to erode. Participation fades. Hope quietly diminishes. Kindness becomes optional instead of expected. But when people do feel like they matter, something shifts just as powerfully in the opposite direction. They show up and contribute. They begin to care about the place they live. Hidden beneath everything else. For decades, psychologists have studied the idea of mattering, and the findings are consistent. It is not just one need among many, it is foundational. Mattering is what researchers call a meta-need, Wallace explains. It's the soil where people belonging, meaning, purpose, and identity all grow. When people feel valued and significant, their sense of self-worth increases, their motivation grows, and relationships deepen. Even their mental and physical health improve. Translated into neighborhood life, that insight becomes incredibly practical. Mattering is more than just a feel-good concept. It's a preventative community development. It reduces isolation before it becomes a crisis. It builds trust before conflict grows. It strengthens belonging before loneliness hardens into withdrawal. Why so many people feel invisible? If mattering is so essential, why does it feel so rare? Wallace points to two major forces shaping modern life. The first is distraction. We are physically near each other, but mentally somewhere else, she says. We've lost the small signals that tell people they're seen. The second is the cultural shift in how we define worth. Increasingly, people feel valued only when they perform. We've moved towards conditional worth, Wallace says. Extrinsic values, like on social media, tell us you matter if you succeed, if you achieve, if you are recognized. But intrinsic values say something very different. You matter because. That distinction changes everything, because mattering does not come from achievement, it comes from relationship. Where mattering actually happens. One of the most surprising findings in Wallace's research is how people describe moments when they truly felt they mattered. They don't talk about awards or public recognition, she says. They talk about small moments, like when somebody noticed them or remembered them, or when someone made space for them. That insight is especially important for neighborhoods, because neighborhoods are built out of small, repeatable interactions, maybe a wave across the yard, a short conversation in the driveway, or a moment when someone pauses long enough to listen. These are not insignificant gestures. They are the places where mattering begins. Many neighborhoods today are polite. People wave, avoid conflict, and keep to themselves. But there is a difference between a good neighbor and an engaged one. These days, a good neighbor leaves you alone. An engaged neighbor notices you. And it is this act of noticing and being present that creates mattering. Wallace puts it simply, people feel like they matter when they are seen and when they know they can add value to others. Presence makes both of these possible. One of the most overlooked ways to build mattering is also one of the simplest, sharing everyday life. Not formal gatherings or carefully planned events, but small human gestures, an extra plate of cookies carried next door, a casual invitation to sit on the porch, a quick knock on the door with words, "We made too much, would you like some?" In a culture where many people eat alone, even a brief shared moment can communicate something powerful. You belong here. And it works because it's ordinary. Mattering lives Mattering lives in small, repeatable acts, Wallace says. It's built on everyday moments, not extraordinary ones. When people don't feel like they matter, the absence of mattering does not just create loneliness, it changes behavior. When people feel like they matter, they contribute. When they don't, they withdraw or sometimes they act out. In her research, she encountered language that was both simple and revealing. People who felt disconnected often described themselves as useless or worthless, not just unhappy, but without value. That insight reframes many of the struggles communities face. Some forms of anger, isolation, or even destructive behavior can be understood, at least in part as attempts to answer a deeper question: do I count? A neighborhood that does not create pathways for mattering will eventually feel the consequences, but one that does, even quietly, will experience something very different. Most communities measure what is easiest to quantify: property values, crime rates, and growth and development. But there is a deeper question that may matter more. Do people here feel like they matter? That question has the power to reshape how we think about community life. Because when people feel known, noticed, and valued, everything else begins to change. Built in ordinary moments. In the end, strong neighborhoods are not built on perfection. They are built on people who help each other remember that they count. And the good news is that this kind of neighborhood is not out of our reach. It does not require a new program or formal plan. It does not require extraordinary effort. It begins with something much simpler: noticing. The wave across the yard, the short conversation in the driveway, the shared plate of food. The quiet message says, "I was thinking about you." These are the building blocks of belonging. Because at the end of the day, the strongest neighborhoods are not the ones with the best amenities. They're the ones that people know they are seen. They are the ones where people know they are seen, they are valued, and they matter. Strong neighborhoods are not built on perfection. They're built on people who help. Applying lessons to myself. There is not a universal scoreboard that confirms I matter, but these are possible lenses through which to see that you matter. Your impact and the ripple effects. Who do you touch with your work or activity? You are irreplaceable. There is no duplicate of my exact perspective, history, and way of thinking. Remove you and something genuinely unique disappears. You matter because of connection. If there is even one person, pet, or place that would be different without you, that is evidence that you matter. What kind of impact do you want to have, and where can you actually see it? I believe your neighborhood is where you can have that type of impact that really matters.
Community raising thousands for family of a Springfield teen in Christian County crash. Gilna Oberbreck graduated and attended her senior prom shortly before her death. Community members have rallied to support the family of Springfield teen who died in Christian County vehicle crash on Tuesday, May 19th. Ms. Oberbreck was 18th, the passenger in a car traveling west on Route 14 near Delaware Town Road, a few miles west of Nixa. Around 12:22 p.m., the car began hydroplaning across the center line of the road, causing another vehicle to strike it on the passenger side, according to the crash report from the Missouri State Highway Patrol. The 20-year-old driver of the car carrying Oberbreck sustained minor injuries, while two occupants of the other vehicle, Crane residents aged 79 and 67 were moderately injured according to the crash report of the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Oberbreck died at the scene. Names are not provided in the online report, but the family friend confirmed Oberbreck is the deceased. An online fundraiser for Oberbreck's family had raised over $14,000 as of May 22nd. Amy Oberbreck, Gilna's mother, is a familiar face to many Springfield small businesses and event scene. She owns and operates Shakers Mobile, Bartending, and Just One More, a sports bar and pool hall in the Republic. Dennis Cox, who organized the fundraiser, has worked with her in the event community for several years. It couldn't have happened to better people, he said, adding to Amy Oberbreck's tends to be the first person to help when others are in these types of situations. Cox said Gilna Oberbreck was homeschooled. She recently graduated and attended her senior prom and received her high school equivalency from the Ozarks Technical Community College. This story is by Zoe McIntyre. Zoe McIntyre covers Springfield surrounding communities like Nixa, Ozark, and the Republic.
Got a Springfield News-Leader story filed by Vicki Hicks. Headline, How Springfield Greene County Libraries Are Funded, and Other Questions. The library recently received results from a public perception survey, and some responses revealed common misconceptions about the Springfield Greene County Library District. We thought this would be a great opportunity to clear up a few questions we hear from time to time. While the Springfield Greene County Library District serves all Greene County, the library is not a department within the city of Springfield or Greene County government. We are officially a political subdivision of the state of Missouri and the special taxing district within Greene County. That means the library is governed by its own board of trustees under Missouri law. The library is primarily funded through property taxes, which account for nearly 90% of our operating revenue. Your property tax statement specifically identifies the amount that supports the library district. For most Greene County households, that amount averages about $90 per year, roughly the same as what we would charge non-county residents for annual library card. One survey respondent asked why the library doesn't simply negotiate with the city for a larger share of existing taxes. Because the library is not funded by the city or county budgets, the library must ask voters to increase our tax rate to increase our revenue. It has been 25 years since the library asked for and received an increase in our tax rate. Another question we received was why the library does not offer a tool library. Many libraries across the country have added a library of things, and these programs can work very well depending on a community's size and needs. In our area, the Community Partnership of the Ozarks already operates a tool library through its Restore SGF program. To create and maintain a similar collection across our large district would require significant staff time and ongoing costs related to purchasing, cleaning, repairing, and placing items. At this time, we believe our resources are best focused on the services and collections most heavily used by our community. We also receive requests for circulating jigsaw puzzles and board games. We love a good puzzle as much as anyone. In fact, there's often one in progress in our staff break rooms. However, circulating games and puzzles present unique challenges. Staff would need to verify that every piece, card, and component is returned before these items could go back into circulation. With thousands of materials moving through our branches each day, that process would require considerable investment of staff time that we just don't have. Fortunately, the Friends of the Library help meet that interest through their twice-annual book sales, where puzzles, games, books, and other materials are available at very affordable prices. We invite your comments and questions. Just visit thelibrary.org and hit the feedback button to send us your thoughts. Our vision is to be a thriving library that is an integral part of the lives of our community. Thank you for your support. Vicki Hicks is the Community Relations Director of the Springfield Greene County Library. She can be reached at VickiH@thelibrary.org, or to learn more about the Springfield Greene County Library, visit thelibrary.org.
This story is by Steve Polkin. Did you know there's been a data center in Springfield for 23 years? At first it was called SpringNet, owned and operated by the city utilities. When it moved underground, it became SpringNet Underground in 2014. CU sold it to Bluebird. There is a disconnect somewhere. On May 11th, about 800 people squeezed into the auditorium at a Marshfield High School to propose plans for a new data center outside of Webster County, expressing concern that such centers are a danger to the environment and a threat to the community. The people of Webster County are also expressed a distrust of the developer Lumen Solutions LLC and the men behind it. Trent Overhue, who in 2025 bought Plaza Towers in Springfield and Ashton Owens. The disconnect, as I see it, is that most people seem unaware that there has been a data center quietly operating here in Springfield for 23 years. It is called the Bluebird Fiber Underground Data Center. You can't see it because it's 85 feet underground at a Springfield Underground, where its servers and other equipment are safe from ice storms, lightning strikes, and tornadoes. There has been no controversy involving Bluebird Fiber, no environmental mishaps, no complaints about water use or discharge, at least that I'm aware of. In terms of the Bluebird Fiber news, all I found in archives has been an update every year, so about Bluebird's expansion in space and capacity kept as dignifiedly reported by Springfield News-Journal. If the data centers are so harmful, why has the one in Springfield operated successfully and hardly anyone knows it's there? I think it is because most people hear a data center these days, they think of the gargantuan AI facilities being built across the county, and they are described as hyperscale. We'll get to that in a bit. When systems hum, they need to be cooled. When data storage systems hum, the massive amounts of electricity they consume heats up the microchips, which need to be cooled. Bluebird Fiber has a closed-loop water cooling system which distractedly reduces the water usage. The data center is being constructed in Webster County. Also will have a closed-loop water cooling system. Before there was a Bluebird Fiber in Springfield Underground, there was a SpringNet, a telecommunications system owned and operated by city's utilities. The utility company established by the city of Springfield in 1945. SpringNet changed its name to SpringNet Underground in 2003 when its leased space of Springfield Underground. SpringNet Underground housed computer servers for businesses who either want to move those servers off their business sites or sought a reliable disaster backup for data storage. That's what traditional data centers do. AI data centers generate more heat due to high-powered computer equipment needed. Maybe Webster County needs a planning and zoning commission. SpringNet Underground crew like gangbusters, leasing more and more space at Springfield Underground. Then city's utilities sold it in 2014 to what is then Bluebird Network for $88.4 million. Why? The business is doing well, but we don't really have a funding stream to handle those expansions. Scott Miller, then city's utilities general manager, told Springfield News-Leader in December 2014, data center opponents in Webster County are concerned about the figure growth of the center under construction there. It seems it seems a legitimate concern based on the growth of Bluebird here in Springfield. It also seems to me that the conundrum in Webster County has a lot to do with the fact that it's a rural area and a lot of people don't favor much government intervention. The advantage of not having government telling you how to build a barn, for example, can be a disadvantage when the county doesn't even have a planning and zoning commission. Such a body might have been able to put in place a regulatory standards for things like data centers. Has the time come for Webster County to have a planning and zoning commission? Comparison between Bluebird and plans for Webster County Data Center. Let's make some comparisons between Bluebird and the plans for the AI data center in Webster County. First, Bluebird, 85 feet underground, and Webster County Center is not, I know, call me a Captain Obvious. Bluebird has about 80,000 square feet of space, while the proposed Webster County Data Center will have several smaller modular buildings totaling about 7,000 square feet. According to the video on the Bluebird website, the company has 6 megawatt generators made by the company that's part of Rolls-Royce that is 18 megawatts. What's a megawatt? It is a unit of power that equates to 1 million watts. When a power source is rated as 1 megawatt, it means that it has the capacity to deliver energy and rate 1 million joules per second. I know what you're thinking. What's a joule? It is a standard of internal unit used to measure energy work and the amount of heat. In other words, the more megawatts, the more energy, the more heat. Also, the more megawatts, the greater the demand on the local supplier of electricity to the data center. At the meeting at Marshfield High, Overview said Lemons Center will be used at 10 megawatt power. The site is adjacent to a Webster Electric Cooperative substation, meaning the center will be next to accessible electric infrastructure. Neither of the data centers, the one up and running since 2003 and the other being built, is considered a hyperscale data center. Now that's what you call a hyperscale data center. On May 12th, Charlie Keegan, the brother of Daily Citizen managing editor Harrison Keegan, reported for KSHB 41 TV in Kansas City that a Dutch company called Nebis broke ground on a 400-acre site in Independence for what it calls an AI factory. An AI factory will have 4 buildings totaling roughly 2 million square feet. The first building, not including the 3 that will follow, will have approximately 490,000 square feet and designed for 200 megawatts of computing capacity. This is what you call a hyperscale data center. The Independence councilman told Keegan that the data center will generate its own electricity. A company representative said that the data center will use a closed-loop water cooling system that uses about as much water per year as a convenience store. When data centers like this are so large that they can be believed to create heat islands. CNN reported in March, according to one of the study of hyperscale data centers create and vent so much heat that they actually rise the temperature of the surrounding area, an average of 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. I tried to get a comment from Bluebird. Just so you know, I called Bluebird for a comment for this column. My open-ended question was about the seeming disconnect that I see. Why the concern of the environmental impact of data centers on the perceived harm to the community when your data center here in Springfield has operated for 23 years without any incidents that we've heard of. An on-site manager for Bluebird told me I needed to go through Bluebird's marketing department. The manager gave me the name and number to call. I called, and as it happens so often in my career when dealing with corporate America, I did not hear back from the marketing and or the public relations person. The story again was from Steve Pokin Around. The Answer Man columns for Springfield Daily Citizen. He writes about criminal justice issues. He can be reached at Spoken at sgfcitizen.org. Thank you.
Also from the Springfield News-Leader, story by Dave DeMille. Springfield launches hub for gun safety and mental health help. Springfield residents can now find gun safety information, mental health resources, and youth programming in one place through a new online hub launched by the Community Partnership of the Ozarks, according to a community announcement. The nonprofit's Gun Safety and Violence Reduction Initiative has added a dedicated webpage designed to connect residents with educational materials, community services, and upcoming events aimed at reducing firearm-related injuries and deaths in Springfield. Centralized information and local resources. The new page brings together articles, safety tools, and direct links to mental health supports, suicide prevention information, and mental health first aid training opportunities. It also provides access to the Locked In Loaded podcast, a Springfield-based podcast offering a street-level perspective on preventing gun violence, according to the announcement. In addition to the safety education, the site connects users to broader community support through Prosper Springfield, including resources related to education, health, housing, financial stability, transportation, and personal safety. Youth programs and community engagement. Information about existing gun safety and violence reduction programs is also available on the site. These include the Breed Ballers basketball program, which combines athletics with personal development, and Teen Rise, a youth support program developed by Drew Lewis Foundation that focuses on helping young people set goals based on their values and priorities. A monthly events calendar is expected to be added soon to highlight workshops, activities, and community events connected to the initiative. Expanding access and awareness. A website focused on gun safety and violence reduction provides greater access for the community to learn about the work we are doing to reduce gun violence, especially with the mental health links available under the resource tab, said Francine Pratt, Prosper Springfield Director, according to the announcement. We want residents to have easier access to information, programs, and support services that can make a difference. Residents can access the new resource through the Gun Safety and Violence Reduction Initiative link on the Community Partnership of the Ozarks program page at cpozarks.org. For more information, contact Prosper Springfield at 417-888-2020 or email Pratt.
Young businessman from Turkey who created flaming margaritas in Branson pleads guilty to unlawful hiring practices. Federal investigators determined that over time from 55% to 81% of Burke Bulagic's employees could not legally work in the United States. Bulagic would direct his new hires to places where they could get fraudulent documents about their immigration status. Burke Bulagic, a young man from Turkey who once owned two flaming margarita restaurants in Branson, pleads guilty Wednesday morning, May 21st, in federal court to a felony charge of encouraging and inducing illegal and unauthorized aliens to reside within the United States, admitting he hired employees who were not legally authorized to work in the country. Bulagic was arrested on August 20th raid of his restaurants by the U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement. He was 26 at the time. According to the federal court records, it does not appear that Bulagic has been sentenced by U.S. Magistrate Judge David P. Rush of the Western District of Missouri. Nevertheless, Belagic has entered a plea of guilty and has further agreed to be deported to his home country of Turkey once the case is resolved. Federal undercover agents visited the restaurants. According to the plea agreement, the agents of Homeland Security started an investigation of Belagic and his hiring practice in June 2025 after receiving information that he was knowingly employing illegal aliens to work in his restaurants. Belagic owned Flaming Margaritas Mexican Kitchen at 3015 West 76th County Boulevard, and then opened another more upscale restaurant at 1201 Branson Landing Boulevard. According to the court's documents, undercover agents entered both restaurants posing as customers and observing numerous individuals working at the location who were listed in the employment documents and records. Agents then conducted a record of search and determined that at least 55% and up to 81% of the individuals listed as employees of Belagic's were not authorized to work in the United States, as it was not permitted under their existing visas. Their visas had long since expired, or the individuals working were illegally present in the United States. For example, according to court documents, the first quarter of 2025 and 35 reported employees were unlawfully employed by Belagic. In the August 20th raid, law enforcement identified 12 people working at the two restaurants were working illegally. Will be given consideration for pleading guilty to avoid trial. The workers told authorities Belagic or his management team on Belagic's behalf would direct all these individuals hired to the restaurants to go to specific individuals and businesses to obtain false identification documents. Belagic paid workers who were in the country illegally significantly less than he paid other workers, according to the plea agreement. The plea agreement states Belagic will be given consideration in sentencing for admitting his guilt and accepting the responsibility for allowing federal prosecutors to not expand resources preparing for a trial. He was very smart, very genuine, very ambitious. In the August, the Daily Citizen spoke to a friend who had lived and worked at with Belagic. The story was published August 29th. Jacob Estrada described Belagic as a go-getter who was convinced that if he was a successful businessman in the United States, he would somehow be allowed to remain in the country. Belagic had come to the United States under a J-1 visa, Estrada said, which allows participants into the United States for educational and cultural exchange program. Estrada and Belagic met a few years ago as servers in a Laundry Seafood House in Branson. Estrada left Belagic live with him in his house in Kimberling City for about 9 months. He was very smart, Estrada said, very genuine and very ambitious. Belagic studied videos on how to mix drinks. Estrada said while Belagic lived with him, Belagic often watched videos on mixing different kinds of drinks and then would make them on his own. He would spend hours making drinks, Estrada said. That was his genius of the company's name, Flaming Margaritas. Belagic had seen a video of someone making one. The two restaurants offered Flaming Margaritas. The main financial backers of the Flaming Margaritas were his Belagic parents in Turkey, Estrada said. Belagic created the Flaming Margaritas LLC in December 2020, according to online records of the Missouri Secretary of State. He would have been 21 years old. Belagic filed paperwork with the state for his second location in October 2023. Estrada said he ministered to Bilogic, and he took Bilogic to church, and he attended Bilogic when he was baptized there. He was very impassionate and very impressionable, Estrada said. I tried to lead him in the right direction. But Bilogic developed an edge in his pursuit of success, Estrada said. He took on the belief that to be successful in business, you had to do whatever needed to be done. This story is also by Steve Polkin. Thank you.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, from Marta Mees, community bike shop opening storefront at affordable housing site. Over the decade that Springfield Brewing Company's community bike shop has operated, it has constantly grown and expanded. This summer, the shop will open a second location, adding a storefront on Commercial Street. The community bike shop started as a volunteer effort in partnership with the Drew Lewis Foundation to make biking more accessible for Springfieldians, especially children. The bike shop, located in the basement of the Fairbanks Community Hub at 1126 North Broadway Avenue, steadily outgrew its initial spot in the library nook and continued to add space as it moved into the basement. Amy Blansett, founder and CEO of the Drew Lewis Foundation, said the mission of the bike shop was, and continues to be, twofold: divert bikes from going to the landfill and promote cycling across the Queen City. She said that there are bikes that simply sit in garages unused. Kids have outgrown, college students leave on campuses, or police officers confiscate without the ability to track down the owner. Biking gets expensive, Blansett said, so we want to make sure that it remains affordable, that anyone who's interested in doing it can. The community bike shop will be one of several storefronts open on the first floor of the Sankofa Affordable Housing Development at 411 West Commercial Street. Because the Springfield Housing Project utilizes state tax credits, the nonprofit will be responsible for a portion of the commercial rent. It is really only through that partnership that we're able to do it, Blansett said. If it was, market rate rent as a nonprofit community bike shop, it would really be hard to justify that. The new storefront will be smaller than the space in the Fairbanks, which will remain open and still serve as the primary space for bikes, bike parts, and workshops. Blansett said with the smaller space, which includes a loft, roughly 20 bikes will be available for purchase at low cost and minor fixes offered, but not the full-scale work on bikes that occurs at the Fairbanks. At the core of bringing the bike shop to Commercial Street, a goal of increasing awareness of biking opportunities and the bike shop's role in the community, offering less car-centric means of transportation. To come to the Fairbanks, you have to know about it, Blansett said. So it is increasing awareness. It is having, a prominent storefront that lets people know that we're here and we exist. Our biggest thing is just to help more people know that what we're doing, and then that relays into more people getting bikes. Starting July 1st, hours for the current Fairbanks Hub and the new storefront will be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Friday. The Commercial Street location will also be open on Saturdays during those same hours. Blansett says she anticipates the C Street storefront to open in early July. Donations of bike parts, new or gently used helmets, and bikes of all sizes will still primarily be accepted at the Fairbanks location, but also will be taken on Commercial Street. The community bike shop also is a recycling center for old bikes that can be disassembled and sorted. Blansett said the shop is always in need of volunteers who can help fix bikes. Sankofa consists of 42 rental units that are currently accepting applications for lease. The housing is redistricted for individuals, making 60% of the area median income. Studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units are available. The project is being developed by local Vicino Group. Springfield Councilman Bruce Adib Yazdi, Vice President of Development at Vicino, told the News-Leader that he expects residents will be moving in July. The first floor of Sankofa includes 5 community business spaces. In addition to the community bike shop, one of the confirmed spots will house the Springfield Multicultural Business Association, which will operate a business incubator for local entrepreneurs.
Trash left in a front yard in Woodland Heights upsets residents. Neighborhood association it's is on it. Becky Volz, the president of Woodland Heights Neighborhood Association, she was recognized as Citizen of the Year by Springfield Daily Citizen on Tuesday, May 19th. It is good to see that she's clearly not resting on her laurels. David Morrison tells me that he has complained to the city for at least a month about trash left in the front yard of what he believes is the only remaining nearby home not owner occupied. The city has been slow to respond, he tells me, which makes his old suspicion creep to the surface that there is a bias in services when comparing South Springfield, where things get done, to North Springfield, where things don't. He lives in the 2100 block of North Main Avenue in Woodland Heights neighborhood. It bothers me because it feels like when stuff happens on the north side, the city doesn't really care, he said. I feel like that if this was on the southern hills or down on the south of Battlefield, it wouldn't fly. It would be gone the next day. I have a friend that lived on one Lone Pine just outside of Southern Hills. He tells me they went on vacation for a week. When they came back, the grass was about to their ankle, and they already had a sign in their front yard from the city about the grass. That's just my perspective. It might not be true, but that's my perspective. I call her to talk to her about the trash, and she is looking at the trash as we speak. Let's cut to the chase. On Friday, I called Becky Volz, president of the Woodland Heights Neighborhood Association, who on Tuesday was named Citizen of the Year at the annual Springfield Daily Citizen's Distinguished Citizens Awards. Funny that you're calling right now, she tells me. I'm standing right in front of it. We'll have volunteers that will come by and load everything up on a trailer. We'll bag what needs to be bagged because there's a lot of loose stuff. By 10 a.m. Saturday, May 23rd, the trash will be gone, she says. We've gotten a team of volunteers doing some cleanup on multiple different properties. I have several sofas, lots of mattresses and chairs sitting on curbs, she adds. Where do you get the truck or trailer? We have an amazing neighbor who is excavating company, and she says he has a trailer and a side steer. Who pays to disposal of the items at the landfill? The neighborhood association. You? I have a voucher from the city to go to the landfill, she says. The city is very generous. From time to time, we can get vouchers for the landfill. Public Works makes those available to us. He assumes owners would come back later that day and haul away the trash. Nope. Morrison told me the owner of the house, across the street, came by a month ago with a truck and trailer and cleaned out the house and put all the trash in front of the yard. Morrison assumed the owner would come back later in the day and to haul it away, but he did not come back later in the day. He has not come back for the trash at all. According to Greene County property records, the owner is Justin Reed, who apparently lives in Bella Vista, Arkansas. When I visited the house, it had a lock on the front door, the types used by real estate agents. I asked Volz, does the owner of the house get away with this? Typically, I will reach out to whoever the landlord is, she says. If I have the text number, I'll text them. I've been known to do that. And if we can't reach them, we'll just get rid of it. We do our best. Sometimes it just takes a few weeks because we're all volunteers and we've got to coordinate our time and vehicles. He says he was treated rudely when he went to the city. Morrison tells me the neighborhood has improved immensely since 2018 when he moved to the North Main. I plugged the address of my empty house where the trash was left into Springfield News-Leader archives and discovered that a man was shot there in 2014 and died later in the hospital. Morrison said he went to the Blush Municipal Building weeks to complain and was treated rudely. He told me that a woman there told him that the city had received no complaints and that it will be likely take 18 months to take care of the trash. I contacted the city for its response. Kristen Milne, spokesperson for the city, responded via email. The city received one complaint for trash at the referenced property at 2126 North Main on Friday, May 15th. Building Development Services inspected and created a nuisance case on Monday, May 18th, and posted it. It is scheduled to be re-inspected on May 29th. If the property is still in violation, an abatement notice and order will be sent to the and posted, giving the property owner 10 days to request a hearing, or order will be finalized and the property scheduled to be cleaned by the city contractor, with all costs to be assessed and sent to Greene County as part of the taxes. According to Morrison, it is the way he has been treated that irks him. My wife is telling me I am making too big of a deal out of this, he says. Maybe if the woman at the office had not been so rude to me, I would not have gotten all bent out of shape. A reputation for getting things done. Foltz tells me she also complained to the city about the trash. It is just that there might be a lot going on with the building development services, she says. What we do when we have this kind of thing happen is we give it time and look for the landlord to dispose of it, and they're supposed to. When they don't, we report it to the Building Development Services and to the City Citizen Resource Center. The Resource Center's email is city@Springfield, Missouri, springfieldmo.gov, and the phone number is 417-864-1010. And in closing, here's part of the May 4th story colleague Joel Hadsall wrote about Volts. For more than a decade, Volts has earned a reputation for helping people with grace and tendency, whether it is assessing one person's needs or mobilizing larger neighborhood projects. From helping people improve their homes, organizing new neighborhood projects, from helping people improve their homes and organizing new events, the evening serving and citywide neighborhood initiatives, Foltz has earned a reputation for getting things done. It is good to see that our Citizen of the Year definitely is not resting on her laurels.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, submitted by Susan Zutch. Mercy program changes how opioid addiction is handled in the rural Ozarks. The first 72 hours after opioid withdrawal is the most crucial and dangerous time frame for someone dealing with substance use disorder. If you can make it through the first 72 hours, your likelihood to make it through withdrawal is so much higher, said Jen Spear, Executive Director of Operations for Mercy Hospital, Lebanon. Hearing that, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to prioritize 72 hours. Opioids cause physical dependence, and withdrawal can be uncomfortable and even life-threatening in some cases. It can start with sweating, insomnia, muscle aches, and agitation. Then it can progress to abdominal cramping, nausea, diarrhea, an abnormally fast resting heart rate, or dangerously high body temperature. In a rural community, appointments to address addiction may be days or weeks away, and few pharmacies are open 24/7. Without adequate access to support, it's really easy to go back into doing things, drugs, not because you want to, but because you don't have what you need to be successful, Spear said. Mercy Hospital Lebanon is piloting a program that aims to help rural Ozark patients get the help they need in that important time frame, which is now at nearby communities including Aurora, Cassville, Carthage, and Mountain Home. Funded by the Health Resources and Services Administration, the program has been so successful that Spear and colleagues presented it in Washington, D.C. and are looking for how to grow the program in the future. Changing the model of addressing addiction in rural areas. Generally, when patients come to emergency departments in withdrawal or after an overdose, providers address their immediate medical needs before discharging them and referring them to a psychiatrist. However, in rural towns like Lebanon, it could be days or weeks before they're able to get an appointment, and the first 72 hours can make or break a person's attempt to stop using that substance. Spear, who grew up in Lebanon, is leading the program. Patients who come into the hospital's emergency department with an opioid overdose or withdrawal receive a medication-assisted treatment pack, which contains 3 days of medication used to manage opioid withdrawal symptoms and to treat opioid use disorder, a medication to manage the nausea from withdrawal, Zofran, and an opioid overdose medication, Narcan. At the same time, patients are scheduled for an appointment with Mercy's Virtual Substance Use Recovery Program, or VSURP, no more than 72 hours later. In addition to addressing the fact that providers who specialize in substance use may not physically be present in a rural area, virtual visits also guarantee a level of confidentiality otherwise difficult to find in small towns. Though being able to do this virtually, it really is anonymous, Spear said. They don't have to leave work to go to an appointment. They can step away for 30 minutes and do that appointment virtually, and nobody has to know about that. Many of the overdoses or withdrawals the emergency departments see are on Friday nights, according to Spear, meaning that in smaller rural Ozark towns, patients may not be able to get medication that helps them through the withdrawal until Monday, when local pharmacies open. Lebanon is a small town, and there are gaps, but there are smaller towns that feed into Lebanon, said Jen Spear, Executive Director of Operations at Mercy Hospital, Lebanon, who also grew up in that town. If our gap is really a big deal, then you can only imagine when you get 45 minutes from Lebanon and there isn't a pharmacy in town and there's not anything in those spaces. The program relies not only on providing life-saving medications to those who are experiencing withdrawal, but also presents a roadmap to people who are working toward recovery. Traditionally, when people come into Mercy and receive a cancer diagnosis, Spear said, providers would give them paperwork that outlines what treatment will look like, what medications they'll most likely take, what they're likely going to experience, and what their family will go through. Previously, when you came into our emergency department, sometimes we don't have a great solution for you if you're seeking help for substance abuse, Spear said. So we're really changing that model to say addiction is a disease and we need to be able to walk you through that every step of the way. Building a system that lasts to address a need in Southwest Missouri. The expansion was funded in part by a $300,000 grant through the Health Resources and Services Administration. That grant also helps pay for medication and virtual care carts at each facility, as well as training ED providers in compassionate, unbiased care and education of the medications used. While the grant kicked off the program's expansion, Spear feels that progress is allowing them to build a sustainable program, which will continue even after the funding is gone. We've been able to build a system that lasts. When we look at our dollars, really, the grant is allowed for the education piece, for the physical medication piece, being able to provide that to patients at no cost, which is huge. Spear said, adding that once patients are engaged, Mercy navigators can help them set up the Medicaid or other insurance, which reduces the cost that the hospital system has to cover. In planning the grant, Spear and her team set the goal of seeing 100 patients during the whole year. Since the program's launch in October 2025, the program has seen 109 referrals across 5 hospitals and 35 patients actively engaged in recovery, far exceeding expectations. Previously, VSURP in Southwest Missouri had only had 10 referrals over several years, according to a press release. VSURP has existed within the Mercy system for a while, but the grant funding allows Ozarks to focus on substance abuse. When you look at this work that is being done, anything above 15% engagement is incredible. So we are seeing 32% engagement, said Spear, who also attributes the success 100% to the program's commitment to seeing patients within 72 hours. Spear and her team presented their work in D.C. in March, she said, which brought together 42 grantees who took part in the HRSA's Rural Community Opioid Response Program. Mercy Hospital Lebanon was one of 10 grantees that presented its program in an innovation tank, where attendees voted on the most innovative, creative, and impactful programs. Mercy's VSURP opioid treatment program took third place in the event. What we're doing, there's not a lot of people doing this work in the hospital setting. It was just very humbling to be able to share what we were doing is not only making an important impact here, but it's also making an impact nationally. The number of people engaged in the program highlights the desperate need for substance abuse treatment in the Southwest Missouri. In the future, Spear hopes to expand the program beyond opioids, addressing new substances like kratom, as well as alcohol dependence. Even as we were launching the grant, there were new things coming in on the market that BSURP team was seeing. They are the expert in that they can keep the hospitals educated on what are the things that are going to be walking into your ED. How do we need to treat those patients? How do we continue to lock arms with our VSURP team, our experts, and how do we continue to make sure our frontline teams are educated on the things that are going to be walking through the door?
We are currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, situated at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, please visit our website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com to explore more of our video content, including movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material. Please visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as a valuable resource for community engagement and education.
Dave DeMille, Springfield News-Leader, submits the following article, headline, June's First Friday Art Walk in Springfield offers all ages activities. From gallery openings and author readings to live jazz and a community block party, June's art lineup in downtown Springfield offers a wide range of options according to a community announcement from the Springfield Regional Arts Council. The First Friday Art Walk on June 5th anchors the month, with many venues staying open late and several spots adding hands-on activities. Highlights include a watercolor showcase at Formed, an artist collective, new work at Obelisk Home, an artist feature in the Hotel Vandervoort lobby, and a Route 66 themed photo exhibit at the Park Central Branch Library. Families will also find crafts and free activities at the Downtown Church and the Gilroy Theater. Venues will keep variable hours, with many locations open till 10 p.m. for the June 5th event. Participating spaces can also be visited through the month through the regular business hours. Formed, an artist collective. Formed, an artist collective will feature a new watercolor collection by featured artist Andy Snether. The exhibit includes works ranging from a delicate nest and cozy diner to luminous pears, golden flowers, and dreamy lily pads. Visitors can enjoy refreshments, live music, and opportunities to meet the artists during the First Friday Art Walk from 6 to 9 p.m. Live music by Tony Manown is scheduled from 6:30 to 8:30, and the address is 210 East Walnut. Regular hours Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Contact Laura Inglesby. Forming will be open during First Friday Art Walk from 6 to 9 p.m. or when artists are present. An open sign is displayed on the sidewalk. The space also hosts an open studio every Monday from noon to 8 p.m. Address 330 South Avenue. Regular hours weekdays 6 to 9 p.m. Open studio Mondays noon to 8 p.m. Gailey's Breakfast Cafe will be open until 9 p.m. during June's First Friday Art Walk. In addition to traditional American breakfast menu, the cafe will display artwork from SWMO Visual Arts Collective, including pieces from Foot X Foot Youth Art Show, celebrating young artists. That would be at 220 East Walnut Street, Sunday through Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And you can contact Ann Kenyon. The Galloy Theater will host Friday Art Walk activities in the second floor gallery space. Attendees can view exhibits by Galloy resident companies, enjoy beer or handcrafted cocktails, and listen to a live jazz set by members of Mojo beginning at 6:30 p.m. The Springfield Art Museum will also host a table offering a hands-on art activity. Admission is free and doors are open at 6 p.m. At 325 Park Central East, box office hours Monday through Friday 10 to 4. Contact Lauren Slamb. Hers Luxury Living will be open from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for June's First Friday Art Walk, inviting visitors to explore the space and take part in the evening's festivities. That's at 138 Park Central Square, Suite 101. Regular hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Contact Mel Maige. Hotel Vandervoort will feature artwork by Haley Page in the hotel lobby from 4:30 to 10 p.m. during June's Art Walk. Page, who began painting in high school, works primarily in acrylics and focuses on layered abstract compositions. This is at 305 East Walnut. The lobby hours are open 24/7. The Order restaurant hours Monday through Saturday 5 to 10 p.m. and Sunday 5 to 9. Contact Bethany French. J.L. Long Traders will be open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. for First Friday Art Walk. The shop will welcome romance author Angie N. Black for the release of her latest novel, Higher Education. That will be at 318 West Walnut. Regular hours Tuesday through Saturday 10 to 5. Contact Kelly Wraith and Kayleen Long. Obelisk Home will host the opening of No Kept Lives by Colby Kern in the main gallery from 6 to 10 p.m. Kern's work reflects a painting practice rooted in curiosity and instinct. The lower level gallery will feature the 2026 Ozarks Tech juried exhibition showcasing work from the 21 OTC students. That address is 214 West Phelps Street, Suite 101. Regular hours Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5. And you can contact Sam Evans. Ozarks Farm Stop will be open until 8 p.m. for June 1st Friday Art Walk, featuring encaustic work by Christina Corey of T&C Bee Company. Corey is a third-generation beekeeper whose work is inspired by nature and created using pigment and wax applied with heated tools. That address is 401 South Avenue, Suite A100. Regular hours 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Wednesday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday through Saturday 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Park Central Branch Library. The Park Central Branch Library will display photographer David Elsick's exhibit, Route 66, The Rest of the Story. Elsick will give an art talk at 7 p.m. focusing on John T. Woodruff and the history of Route 66. Visitors can also create a personalized stitched journal using provided materials. That will be at 128 Park Central Square. Regular hours Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Contact is Andrew Mann. The Corolla Arts Exhibition Center will host an MFA thesis exhibition in partnership with the Springfield Art Museum, running May 26th through June 5th. First Friday art walk hours are 6 to 8 p.m. The exhibit features work by Missouri State University MFA candidates Kayla Brown, Kara Coonrod, Cameron Gullidge, and Olga Shute, with cultural guidance provided by the Springfield Museum staff. Address is 326 North Boonville. Regular hours are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and contact Jody McCoy. The downtown church will host free activities from 6 to 8 p.m., including live jazz by Cadacious, arts and crafts for children, popcorn, lemonade, and tours of the historic church. The address is 413 East Walnut Street. Office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. Contact Brian Matson. And finally, the Creamery Arts Center. The Springfield Regional Arts Council will host its second annual block party at the Creamery Arts Center from 5 to 7 p.m. The event includes opening receptions for Summer in the Ozarks in the main gallery and the GLO Center's Queer Artists Showcase in the Hall Gallery. Address 411 North Sherman Parkway. Regular hours Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Contact Claire.
Familiar territory. Levi Hilton Gem sent Willard back to state quarterfinal. Number 2, Tigers drown up top, ranked Webb City for district crown and battle of Class 5 elite. Willard, for the 10th time in 14 seasons, Willard has earned a state tournament berth. A gem from Missouri, southern-bound ace Levi Hilton, which longtime Tigers coach Scott McGee said was as dominant a high school pitching performance he's ever seen. He made all the difference. Hilton struck 10 on Friday's 7-0 Class 5 District 6 champion win over Webb City without yielding a walk. He proceeded to inflict damage offensively in a game-changing 6th inning with the screaming double to the left center gap, starting a chain of 5 consecutive hits. Second-ranked Willard, 30-8, ultimately put 6 runs up in the frame before junior righty Colton Simmons closed the door at the top-ranked Cardinals, 28-5, with a scoreless 7th. I saw the curve or slider, whatever it was, hanging, and I just turned it on and put all the anger out, Hilton said. It's awesome. It feels good to be able to be good on both sides of the game. Willard moves on to 3-game state quarterfinal series against the winner of Marshfield, 27-10, and Father Tolton, 18-12, beginning on Friday, May 29th at Willard. Hilton's impact was huge throughout the championship matchup between the top 2 squads in Class 5, according to the latest Missouri Baseball Coaches Association poll. Hilton's catcher and soon-to-be Missouri Southern teammate, Jarrett McGee, voted that the 6'3" righty developments since the his 3-inning opener appearance in the 2024 state title game was a full display. Longtime baseball coach Scott McGee and catcher Jarrett McGee enjoying a final season in Willard. It shows a picture of the 2 guys standing there in front of a baseball thing. He's gotten a ton better since the state championship game, McGee said. He can land 3 pitches consecutively in a zone now, which obviously killer if you throw 90 miles an hour like he does. But not only has he grown as a player, I think as a person and as a competitor, he's grown a ton. Just being around him, I think he's a lot more competitive now than he had been. I think he's looking forward to pitching these big games 2 days before the district title matchup, the Tigers had just thrown 45 pitches in a relief appearance during the team's semifinal 3-2 win over West Plains, exacting revenge for the previous year's semifinals loss to the Zizzers. As his strikeout count grew, so did the decibel level of the Willard faithful. We always kind to save our ace for the district title game, and we did that again, Scott McGee said. It was just great that he was able to execute his pitches. Webb City is a good team, and Hilton was just so freaking good. Hilton was joined in a notable performance by junior Matthew Burns, 3 for 3 stolen base and 2 runs. Sophomore Easton Reed, 2 for 2 double, 2 RBI, and senior Cade Hayter, 1 for 2 double, 2 RBIs. This story was by Jaden Pettas, and freelance sports writer for the Daily Citizen, and is currently the editor-in-chief for the Standard Missouri State University student newspaper.
And now from the Springfield Business Journal, Claudette Riley, reporter. Headline, SPS reports $15 million in damage from the late April hailstorm. A historic hailstorm that swept through southwest Missouri in late April left Springfield Public Schools with $15 million in damages, primarily to building roofs. The SPS Board of Education received an update about the extent of the damage during a May 19th meeting. The estimated amount of property and vehicle damage and loss is a little over $15 million, said Karen Stassel, Executive Director of Business Services for SPS. The amount that we will probably be paying out after insurance takes care of the rest is about $5 million. Travis Shaw, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, said the hailstorm left damage at a dozen buildings, with the brunt absorbed by Williams Elementary and Hillcrest High School. He said the most costly damage was roof related. When you have roof damage, you also get a lot of other things on top of that. Because we've got HVAC equipment, we've got ventilation, we've got skylights, he said in a May 20th interview. These are the solid roofs, and our flat roofs and our shingled roofs, any of the metal that is up there. Shaw said other buildings with damage, including Bissett, Bowerman, Fremont, Truman, Watkins, and York Elementary Schools, Pleasant View and Westport K-8 buildings, and the Study Alternative Center and Mallory at Early Childhood Center. It was all in the north and northwest. The National Weather Service in Springfield reported mail measuring the size of a baseball and in some parts slightly larger than a grapefruit in the city during the April 28th storm. Shaw said SPS also estimated $165,000 in damages to district-owned vehicles. We had school police vehicles wherever they were located that had windows busted out. Stephen Hall, Chief Communications Officer for SPS, said district employees were quick to assess the damage and secure and protect the property. We've done those initial steps that are necessary to prevent further damage so that this next step of recovery can occur. Shaw said repairs may take months and will happen whether students are in the school buildings or not. You're dealing with insurance companies. You never know how long that's going to take. And we still have all our statutory requirements that we have to deal with as far as bidding, and so it's going to take several months for sure. Stassel explained that the out-of-pocket deductible for $5 million will have an impact on the overall 2027 fiscal year budget, which must be approved by June 30th, because it is expected to lower the operating reserve fund. SPS is slated to end FY 26 with a reserve fund balance of 25.1%, its lowest level since 22. The district has built up that fund, which has dropped as low as 17% in the past decade. In recent years, as the buffer against unexpected expenses, revenue shortfalls, or economic downturns. Stassel said the $5 million deductible for the hailstorm may drop the fund balance by 1.7%. If you did not have a large rainy day fund, and our district needs a large one because we're a large district, that could really significantly impact your fund balance in a negative way. Right now, we are grateful for that fund balance because that's really what it is there for.
Valiant Management Group of LLC is planning an agri-hood concept called Third Harvest in Southwest Springfield. The company, which does business as Valiant Group, is targeting an August groundbreaking for the project of 3411 South Scenic Avenue, a couple of blocks north of Republic Road, said owner and founder Josh Manning. The site is to be used for Third Harvest, was previously a mobile home park. Manning said, noting that he recently purchased the property. Greene County records show that the seller was a mobile home sales company. Manning said the agricultural neighborhood concepts include an on-site farm, a partnership with local chef for farm-to-table dinners, cooking classes, and farm stand. There will also be an event center with produce production area. I like it because it's different, he says. I know that it's been done in other markets, and I know it can be successful. Surrounding the farm would be 110 housing units, Manning said. The plans call for 3-story apartment buildings with 78 units, as well as 8 fourplex townhomes. In the middle of it would be the farm, he says. With all the aspects combined, Third Harvest would span roughly 160,000 square feet, Manning said. It is estimated project cost at $16 million to $18 million. Third Harvest is expected to take 15 months to construct, Manning says. Valiant Group is serving as project architect, he said, noting the development is out for a bid to select a general contractor. Additionally, Third Harvest would have parking spaces specifically for trail users, as he said that the Greenway Trail extension would eventually run by the property.
And also, according to the Springfield Business Journal, Springfield Airport starts 2 new direct flights this weekend. 2 new direct flights are starting at the Springfield Branson National Airport. The first nonstop to Gulf Shores, Alabama on Allegiant Travel Company, NASDAQ ALGT, was May 22nd, and the first direct flight to Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport on American Airlines Group, NASDAQ AAL, is scheduled for May 23rd. According to the airport, the seasonal service to Gulf Shores will have 2 flights a week, Mondays and Fridays, starting this week. It is expected to run through November. We know that Gulf Shores is a very popular destination for Southwest Missouri, said Brian Weller, Director of Aviation, in a news release. The coastal region is a beloved leisure destination for families in our community, and the initial success of the route proves that. We're excited and hope its success will continue as people discover how easy it is to fly direct to Gulf Shores from the Ozarks. Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport is a major hub of American Airlines and the largest carrier for Springfield. This seasonal Saturday-only flight will connect to the Springfield area with Phoenix Sky Harbor, which offers nonstop service to more than 100 domestic and international spots. Dave Schomburg, Assistant Director of Aviation Operations and Maintenance, said American Airlines have provided service at the Springfield Airport for 60 years. We are grateful for the airline's continued investment in providing the air service needs of Southwest Missouri, he said in the release.
Scranton baseball Bears bow out in the CUSA semis, but this shouldn't be the end. Missouri State has great chance of being at the large selection to the NCAA tournament's selection show this Monday. As Missouri State first season in Conference USA hits the finish line, one sport stands out as benefiting from the new league more than any, except for football, the driver of the proverbial bus, Coach Joey Hawkins. Baseball Bears took the big step in competition from their recent years in the Missouri Valley Conference. USA is rated the nation's number 9th baseball league, with the Valley lagging in 25th among 30. That is why there's no need to be disappointed about Missouri State's 7-5 loss to Liberty on Sunday morning at the USA Tournament semifinals in Kenosha, Georgia. The Bears, 34-19, are going to be the 1-3 league teams, with Liberty and regular season champ Jacksonville State headed to the NCAA tournament next week. Along with facing the rugged non-conference schedule, Missouri State found CUSA even better than anticipated. 6 teams are in the top 90 on all the important ratings percentage index. Just 1 year ago, despite going out to Valladolid as regular season co-champions and the league tourney runner-up, the Bears didn't sniff at the NCAA at large. Once great in baseball, the Valley was wasteland for Missouri State baseball program that aspires for more. Hawkins was one of the biggest supporters in the move. Aside from the football coach, Ryan Beard when it was announced 2 years ago. We were grateful for the transition. It's been tough. It's been a really hard league, Hawkins said prior to the USA tourney. Just look at the numbers of the teams in the conference tournament. You feel like anybody can win a given game. When you're playing those team weeks in and week out, it helps to resume as you go through the full season. We believe we're a multi-bid league, and we should be every year. Playing better competition has helped a talented Missouri State team rise to the level of its play. It's been huge, said junior third baseman Curry Sutherland, a graduate of Logan Rogerville High School. We've got to see a lot better competition throughout the year. It is a lot better pitching, and the team just feels more prepared. Day in and day out, it's been a big difference. The Bears can feel safe into selection Monday with our RPI of number 23, best of all CUSA teams. They were 12-8 against a non-league schedule rated number 9, with a combined 7 wins over likely NCAA tournament teams of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and State and Louisiana, in addition to CUSA regular season champ Jacksonville State and runner-up Liberty. Bears blow out in competition suspended game. The semifinal against Liberty began Saturday night with the Flames taking a 6-4 lead into the 6th inning. When rain suspended the action, the Bears drew within a run on Caden Bogenfol's infield RBI single in the 7th, but Liberty quickly answered with the run of its own in the bottom half. One more comeback after 2 rallying wins to open the tourneys against Kenosha State and Dallas Baptist wasn't in the cards. Missouri State has spent 12 days in Georgia after finishing the regular season against the host school. The loss at least gave the Bears a 4-hour jump start and a long bus ride home, and didn't further tax a pitching staff that will need to be at its best next weekend. If you look at the game as a whole, we just didn't play good enough, Hawkins said. Afterward, on the Bears radio news network, you can't make 4 errors to expect beat anybody, include a really good Liberty team, who was going to be the regional team as well. A lot to be proud of from the regular season and conference tournament. Our tough schedule, regular season, non-conference, and the CUSA prepared us. We'll get on the bus, head home, and figure out what's next. Taking care of business. Missouri State didn't have a lot at large bid comfortably clinched when it traveled to Kenshaw nearly 2 weeks ago. Setting up shop for the extended stay, the Bears won 2 of 3 over Kenosha State before the tense pool play wins in the tourney over Kenshaw and Dallas Baptist. When it was that will be enough for the return to the NCAA tourney for the first time since 2022. I've told them since we were at Louisiana opening weekend that every game is a postseason game. If you want to be a large team, Hawkins says, so we've been in the postseason mindset for a while, and it's been a fun ride. We put this team through the ringer when it comes to who we played. We were where we traveled to, everything. You look at a resume. We're more than deserving, and we're more than ready. But we're ready to get back to Springfield for a few days. There will be more fun to come. It would be nice for the original assignment is close enough for fans to travel by ground and transportation. The best chances for that are assigned to Kansas, Lawrence, Nebraska, Lincoln, or their old postseason friends in Arkansas, Fayetteville, and where there is plenty of NCAA history between the programs. The NCAA tournament selection show is Monday at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. This story was by Lyndall Scranton. Linda Scranton is a Springfield native who has covered sports in the Ozarks for more than 35 years, witnessing nearly every big sports moment in the region during the last 50. The Missouri Sports Hall of Famer, Springfield Area Sports Hall of Famer, and live fire cooking enthusiast also serves as PR director for Lucas Oil Speedway in the Wheatland.
From the Springfield News-Leader, submitted by Dave DeMille, headline, Little Shop of Horrors opening in Springfield with a month-long run. High Tide Theatrical will open its production of Little Shop of Horrors on May 29th, bringing the cult classic musical and a working plant shop to downtown Springfield, according to a community announcement. The production will run through June 27th at the Light Room Lounge at Martha's Vineyard at 215 West Olive Street. Performances are scheduled at 7:30 p.m. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Presented by High Tide Theatrical, the show features music by Alan Menken and book and lyrics by Howard Ashman. The story follows Seymour Krelborn, a struggling florist assistant whose discovery of a mysterious plant brings sudden success and dangerous consequences. The musical blends comedy, horror, and romance and includes songs such as Skid Row, Somewhere That's Green, and Suddenly Seymour, according to the announcement. 2 casts, alternating performances. The production will feature 2 complete leading cast performing on alternating nights throughout the run. The Skid Row cast includes Landon Stocker, Ashton Umstad, Eric Eigenberger, Bailey Deal, Kyler Sherman Wilkins. The Downtown cast features Elian Mackey, Courtney Stanford, Warren Swedberg, Miles Stamper, and Lavelle Johnson. Takori Coble, Desdemona Estes, Darius Hairston, and Lavelle Johnson will appear at the Urchins at every performance. The production is directed by Joshua David Smith, with musical direction by Juliana Pyle and choreography by Jacob Deck. Theater experience will include live plants for sale. High Tide Theatrical has partnered with Grow for Good 417 to transform the performance space into a botanical experience during the run. Audiences members will be able to browse and purchase live plants during performances, create an interactive element that connects the show's themes with the venue environment, according to the announcement. Tickets and special performances. Little Shop of Horrors runs approximately 2 hours with 1 intermission and is rated PG-13 for mature themes, mild language, stylized violence, and dark comedic content. A relaxed performance is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. June 25th. A college night performance with discounted student tickets and a post-show talkback is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. June 5th. Ticket pricing includes VIP tables for two at $100, adult tickets at $30, student, senior, and military tickets at $24, and student rush tickets at $15. Tickets are available at hightidesgf.org.
MSU announces new dean for College of Natural and Applied Sciences. Missouri State University new dean overseeing science programs will bring important experience as new research doctorates are developed. The university on Monday, May 18th announced that Magdalena Toda has been named the dean of the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, replacing the retiring Tamara Janke. Toda will start work at the position on July 1st, earning an annual salary of $198,000. Toda was chosen from a nationwide pool of 47 applicants. The university interviewed 10 semifinalists, then invited 3 finalists on the campus for more interviews. The hiring comes at an important time for MSU. University advocates, including attorney Tom Strong, had for years pressed for a change to the state that allows MSU to develop a PhD programs, and those supporters successfully made their case last year. The expansion in research doctorates is a key part of the university's strategic plan. The expansion and renovation of Blunt Hall positions some of those research doctorates to be in the science programs. Provost Clardenia Phillips said that Toda brings a wealth of related experiences to the position. Toda is a professor of mathematics and statistics at the Texas Tech University. She has 25 years of experience in all fronts of the research and development progress. The ability to offer research doctorates and transformational for Missouri State and Dr. Toda's leadership will be important as we move forward. Phillips said her expertise in mentoring and supporting doctoral students will be a significant asset for the university. Toda's experience includes serving as a program director and department chair in the applied mathematics for the National Science Foundation. The chair, she hoped to increase the department's external funding from about $200,000 to more than $10 million, according to press release from MSU graduate enrollment grew by almost 70%. She also guided revisions and doctoral masters and certificate programs at Texas Tech and founded the Math Postdoctoral Scholar Program. One of the key advantages to the Blunt Hall renovation is how it has returned multiple science programs under the same roof, increasing interdepartmental communication and collaboration. Toda's talents for such collaboration is profiled by Texas Tech in 2024 in a project that used mathematics to connect nutrition and diabetes to Alzheimer's disease. Phillips also pointed out Toda's dedication to mentorship. Toda said that her vision for leadership includes focusing entirely on students. Everything we do from scientific discovery in the laboratory, mathematic research on paper through computer-assisted methods is ultimately done with students, for students and through students. Toda said in the release, education and mentorship remain at the heart of the meaningful research and innovation. Toda was named an Association for Women in Mathematics Fellow in 2025. She received the President's Award for Excellence and Teaching at Texas Tech in 2008. She has earned doctorates from the University of Kansas and Polytechnic University in Bucharest. She also earned a master's in mathematics from the University of Kansas, a master's in health and wellness from the American College of Healthcare Sciences, and bachelor's in mathematics from the University of Bucharest. Philip said Toda Bredeth, the experience made her best fit for the position. As dean, Toda will draw on her history and as a facility member, researcher, and administrator, along with her experience as a National Science Foundation program director. Philip said she is ideally suited for the lead and colleague as a vibrant, active, and forward-looking as a College of Natural and Applied Sciences.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, submitted by Annalise Henshaw, headline, Missouri lawmakers approve armed Missouri Rangers for schools. A bill to create a new faction of school protection officers with physical fitness superior to a U.S. Marine got final approval from Missouri lawmakers in the final days of the legislative session. The legislation seeks to allow schools to hire volunteer or paid guards called Missouri Rangers who could carry a gun on school grounds. The bill's sponsor, Republican State Senator David Gregory of Chesterfield, told senators he wanted to give schools a choice to have a higher trained armed guard. He compared current protection officer requirements to that of a Walmart guard with a gun. Currently, schools can appoint teachers and administrators as school protection officers, allowing them to carry a gun or self-defense spray device with training and a concealed carry permit. School protection officers must undergo a minimum of 112 hours of training, according to a Department of Public Safety rule. The state also has school resource officers, which are law enforcement officers with an additional 40-plus hours of training related to school safety. Gregory's legislation proposes a maximum of 160 hours of training, specifying that the program must include lessons on close quarter combat, bomb and arson training, and de-escalation, among others. Prior to training, Rangers must pass a physical fitness test. For those 35 and younger, they must complete a minimum of 40 push-ups in less than 1 minute and be able to run 1.5 miles in less than 12.5 minutes. The legislation asked the state's Peace Officers Standards and Training Commission to identify lower standards for older applicants. The bill's first pass through Senate brought little opposition, garnering the support of groups like the St. Louis County Police Association in its first committee hearing. In early April, just 2 senators voted against the proposal, but Senate Democrats unanimously voted against it when returned to the chamber last week, with less than a day before session adjourned for the year. House Democrats unanimously rejected the proposal, uncomfortable with the proposition of having more firearms in schools. The answer to guns in schools is not more guns in schools, says State Elizabeth Fuchs, a St. Louis Democrat, advocating instead for mental health support for students. Their arguments did not sway House Republicans, who unanimously voted in support of the bill. State Representative Burt Whaley, a Republican from Clever, has experience training school staff on what to do in case of a shooting. The key benefits of having a ranger, he said, was being able to quickly respond to threats. In one school he trained, the local law enforcement estimated that it would take up to 45 minutes for them to arrive. It is typically another person with a gun that knows how to use it, that's trained how to use it. They're usually the ones that are able to subdue a threat. The bill follows other proposals passed last year addressing security concerns, like laws directing schools to share emergency operations plan with local law enforcement and report school safety incidents to the state's education department. Some of the provisions passed in last year's legislation have yet to be implemented because of a lack of funding, such as a requirement to equip schools with bleeding control kits and training for staff on how to apply a tourniquet. Governor Mike Kehoe has until mid-July to sign or veto bills before they become law.
Class 1 to 3 state track, Stratford girls lead our medal count for Greene County schools, win 4x200 championship. Stratford sophomore sprinter Ava Lane took home 4 medals from MSHA Class 3 state track meet Saturday at Atkins Stadium in Jefferson City, helping the Indians finish 6th in the team standings. Lane finished 3rd in both the 100, 12.25, edging senior teammate in 5th place Peyton Coultier 12.30, and the 200 and the 200 24.99 before boosting Stratford's touted relay teams. Lane and Coultier teamed up with Reese Coulter and Jordan David to win state championship in the 4x200, 1.42.19. The place second in the 4x100, 48x33. Fair Grove Junior Christina Cantwell placed 5th for the 2nd consecutive year in the Class 3, a 3,200 meter run, 11.55 seconds. In the boys 3,200 Springfield Catholic Junior Kyle Hathcock placed 6th in Class 3 for the 2nd consecutive year, running in personal best 99.2604. Walnut Grove Junior javelin thrower Dwyer Coons became the school's first boys medalist since 1982 after placing 6th, 149 in Class 1. Fair Grove girls 4x4 relay team placed 7th, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. A team that featured Harper Green, Willow Bushner, and Mackenzie Zanzi and Addie Evans. Fair Grove senior sprinter Carlson Trussell ran 11.3 to qualify for the Class 3 championship in the 100, ultimately finishing 8th for the team points. Christian County Cowless shines for Clever. What a weekend for Clever senior Valerie Cowles. Cowles jumped a personal best 5 feet 7.25 inches to win the Class 3 state title in the high jump and placed 3rd in the 300 hurdles with personal best of 44.87 second finish.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Dave DeMille says, Westlake Ace Hardware fan drive helps beat dangerous heat. As summer temperatures rise, Westlake Ace Hardware and the Salvation Army have launched their annual fan drive to help local residents stay cool and safe during the hottest months of the year. The campaign runs from May 18th through June 6th and raises money to provide new box fans that are distributed locally by Salvation Army commands. The fans are intended to support individuals and families who may struggle to afford cooling during periods of extreme heat. Last year, Westlake Ace customers in Springfield raised enough money to donate 98 box fans for distribution in the community. Customers contribute by rounding up their purchases at participating Westlake Ace stores. Every dollar raised stays in the local community. Online donations are also accepted through the Salvation Army fan drive page at salarmy.us. Nationwide, the fan drive spans about 210 Ace Hardware stores across the country. Since the program began, it has raised more than $1 million and provided more than 70,000 fans.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-update news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for more information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. Thank you and have a blessed day.